is still out there as a dream, right? Still out there as a dream. And of getting to the Super Bowl. And we are left to imagine what it would be like. This great weekend of football, the Lions have changed me. I found myself, it was like midway through the first half of the Chiefs-Buffalo game, maybe late second quarter. I'd watched the first game. I had a hockey game, so I was streaming the game on the bench. And end up getting back to the house. And I'm watching Chiefs-Bills. And I don't know if anybody else did this because there was a weird empty feeling, like something I wasn't accustomed to. Basically, my whole adult life, this was a big day. And I sat there asking myself these existential, what's it all about questions. I'm like, why football? Why are my emotions so tied to teams battling over real estate on a 100-yard grid? Why is this such a big deal? And I'm like asking these questions, these philosophical questions, and then I stop and I go, what the hell am I doing? Like, why am I asking these questions? Why am I? But I guess it's just the emptiness of looking at this whole thing through a different prism. The whole idea that we just want to be a participant. We just want our team and feel like our team is good enough to be in the mix. And our team was good enough to be in the mix. There's no question our team was good enough to be in the mix. They picked a terrible day to have a bad day. A terrible day to have a big day. And that's the thing, is there's no guarantees. Dan Campbell said it last year. There's no guarantees they're going to be back. The Lions have all of the characteristics of a team that objectively should be around for a while competing. They do. They just do. You can't be that good with that many young pieces, with that GM, that coaching staff, that many injuries, and in theory, that many players returning next year. You can't be that good and objectively say the run is over, the window's closed. But anything can happen. Sports are crazy. They're not scripted. And so, I can already see it. No matter who wins the Super Bowl, the Lions are going to be one of the favorites to get there next year. There's going to be a ton of people picking the Lions to win it all. A ton of people. We are so firmly in the mix here, and it feels like we're here to stay. And maybe that's why Sunday felt like such an empty feeling. My entire adult life, I'd grown accustomed to not being a participant and sort of accepted it and just watched those games on Sunday for what they were. Huge games with massive implications. And sort of I was on the, you know what it was? I was outside the fence looking in. We didn't have the proper credentials to get into the authorized area. Now we have the proper credentials to get into the authorized area, and we got denied anyway. And that's where I'm asking myself these philosophical, existential questions. Why do I even care? And it was ridiculous. 248-539-9797. Gator out sick today. We're in a different place. Detroit's in a different place. Detroit's in a place where we belong. We know we belong. It's not a stretch to say we belong. We're not there. And that's the hard part to accept. We're not there, but we know we belong. We know we belong. And so how do I sit back and watch these games on Sunday? Way differently. way differently. And honestly, it's, I don't like it. I didn't like it at all. I like belonging. But you know what? It really just shows that 1 week later, I don't think my emotions have started to scar over, right? They haven't. The wound is still open, and it hurts.
Yeah, if you've been a Lions fan longer than 2023, you're used to watching the Lions not make it this far in the playoffs. You're used to watching the NFL playoffs not involving the Lions.
Yep.
But things have drastically changed the last couple of years. And so now when we watch this past weekend, it definitely is different. It's not the same. There's pain still there from last weekend. And for me, it didn't hit me right away. Like, I obviously it didn't have the same enthusiasm as I normally would.
Yeah.
But it didn't really hit me until like the middle of the first quarter, where I just saw the crowd and I saw that they're playing obviously in Philly, and I'm thinking, this game should be at Ford Field right now. And that's when it kind of just hit me really hard. Like, I knew going in, it wasn't, obviously the Lions weren't in it, but it didn't really hit me until middle of the first quarter.
So you bottomed out middle of the first quarter.
Yeah, from there on, it was just like, I'm just watching the game.
Emotionally, You bottomed out in the middle of the first quarter. It's funny you say that. You know when I bottomed out? I had NFL Network on Sunday morning, and they went to a live shot in the parking lot at Lincoln Financial Field. And then they went to a live shot outside GEHA Stadium in Kansas City. And I just kept thinking, that's the experience that we are being denied. That's what Detroit had. It was there for the taking. I bottomed out at about, I don't know what time. It was like 11:20 on Sunday morning, 4 hours before the first game even started.
So, I mean, you were before. Because, and, as the game's going along, I did think, like you, Doug, at halftime, I see the Fox crew there on the field, and I asked myself, where would they have broadcasted had this game been in Ford Field? I was like torturing myself with stupid questions. Why am I even thinking about that? Why am I even asking where would they have broadcast from, and what would they have done, and who would have done the story on what? Why? Why am I doing this?
Yep, and that's but it was a weird day. It was a weird day. Detroit, how did you feel? And at any point Sunday, did you bottom out? Where it just. It was like, I don't know if I can do this.